Hi everyone, and welcome to Emoji Academy. By the end of this short course, you will learn how to draw basic emoji in Apple style, learn how to modify those emoji, and eventually design your very own emoji from scratch. I'm Alexa, and this is Louie.
This is us if we were emoji. Alexa actually drew these like last week, so that's pretty great.
Surprised I didn't do that sooner.
Yeah,
Seems important.
It's kind of amazing. Yeah, Alexa even drew me with my Jin's glasses on there, so if you went to Jin's last night, those may look familiar to you. That's great. Together we run Parakeet, which is a company in Portland, Oregon. We're a design studio, and we typically make icons, illustrations, and logos, but in our spare time, we just like to draw icons for fun. These are some icons that we've made in the past 2 years. We've made a bunch of glyphs, a bunch of fully rendered icons. Alexa really likes to draw snacks and food. There's just guacamole and churros all over the place.
Yeah.
So they don't go great together. This is just kind of what we've done recently. But lately, the things that have really caught our eye are just emoji. Alexa's started drawing these, all the time. So.
For the past about a year and a half, these have been a really great outlet for us for digital painting and drawing in a rich visual style, which is a thing that we don't get to do quite as much for clients anymore, since a lot of things have gotten flat, but this is kind of a remaining outlet for us. So we've kind of latched onto it.
Yeah, now, we're not going to teach you how to draw these because that's going to take hours, but
or years.
But we'll just start today by sketching. So if you want to take out all your drawing materials, that would be the right time to do so.
Yeah, and thanks all of you who brought your iPads and Apple Pencils. We really appreciate that. Those will come in handy, and you can follow along in Procreate or whatever other drawing software you have that you like, that you're comfortable with.
Yeah, you can use the Notes app if you have no other drawing tool, and it'll be just fine. And for those of you who didn't, bring an iPad, we have colored pencils, and you have the paper in front of you. You've got the notebooks that Layers gave you, so you've, I'm sure, got plenty of things to draw with. You don't have erasers, so just draw lightly. And I'm not going to say don't screw up, but just kind of go over things very lightly until you find the thing that you like. Now, the other thing is on your tables, you may have seen these little guys. These are some circle templates that we had Tinkering Monkey make for all of you. These are yours to keep. They work great with iPads and pencil and paper. The wood ones, I'll say, the wood ones that you have, those work better with paper and pencil. And the plastic ones work a lot better for iPads. So if you're drawing with an iPad, use the plastic ones. They made these overnight for us, so they're awesome.
They're
The
prototypes.
best. They're prototypes.
They're not
They may be a little wobbly, but they're kind of awesome. And they will save you a lot of time from trying to freehand draw circles, because that's really hard to do.
So each of the emoji that we're going to draw today are going to start with a circle. So get your circle template. And that's one of the things that we love the most about working in Procreate after switching from sketching in more traditional mediums, is that you can use traditional drawing tools with iPad. And we like to draw vertical and horizontal guidelines down the center of our circles, just for reference. And these are just sketches, draw lightly. No need to really erase these, just keep them light.
Yeah, and those Tinkering Monkey templates work great as straight edges too, so feel free to use those as well.
And you may have just seen me in Procreate, there's a cool feature called Quick Line, where if you draw a line and pause for a moment in the same spot, it will create this dynamic line that you can then kind of lead wherever you want it and change the length of. So that's very good for drawing straight lines in Procreate. So the first shape, besides our circle, that we're going to start with is an oval. And we're just going to draw the most basic emoji that there is in terms of Apple's emoji expressions. And you're going to start on your horizontal guideline, just a little bit to the left, and you're going to draw an oval. And just draw lightly until you have a shape that you're happy with, and you can get darker as you go. But it's just going to intersect with the horizontal line on the bottom. And this is symmetrical, so we're going to move on to the right side and just do the same thing and try to keep those even. And once you're happy with your shapes, you can just go ahead and fill those in. And you're done.
You're done. That's it.
This is face without mouth. This was part of this was part of the original emoji set in 2010, and nobody quite knows what it's for.
It's the expressionless emoji.
Yeah. But if you want to take this a little further, a lot of emoji are modular and use the same eyes or mouth. A lot of things are reused or used differently together. So we can add a mouth to this and it will become another emoji. And you're just going to want to make a point or a little dot a little bit below the outer edge of your eye on each side, like that. Just to sort of measure the width of where you'd like to have that mouth. And you're going to draw a smile. So just an arc, symmetrical, and this is just a slight curve between those 2 points. And Apple's emoji style involves a lot of tapered lines, particularly with the mouths. So in order to make this a tapered line, you're just going to start and end at those same 2 points, but get a little bit lower toward the middle. And you're going to see me rotate my canvas a lot. Feel free to do the same thing. It just helps with drawing more precisely. So a lot of things will be sideways. And when you're happy with that, you can also fill that in. And there's your second emoji. This is slightly smiling face, and this was only added to Apple's emoji set, or the Unicode emoji set in general, in 2014, which is kind of crazy considering how simple it is. You would expect that this would have been in the original set, but far from it.
Yeah, so there's also another one that I really like. It's this one. Yeah, so that's just upside down face. They kind of added this last year, so that's really handy that now you have 3 emoji that you've made already.
Yeah, congratulations. You know how to draw 3 completely different emoji. So we're going to move on to, now that you're a little bit warmed up, we're going to make some slightly more complicated, more advanced emoji, but also going to start with a circle. So do the same thing you did originally. Just draw your circle. And your vertical and horizontal guidelines. So we're going to start with some arcs to make smiling eyes for this one. So these also start on the horizontal guideline. And you're just going to draw kind of a tall arc shape. And then you're going to draw a smaller arc shape below that that meets the same points. And you can kind of round off those corners like Apple does. Just sort of ease. And of course, this one is symmetrical too. When you're happy with that, you're going to move on to the right side and do the same thing. And once you have a shape that you're happy with for the eyes, oh, am I leaning into the camera?
Yeah, a little bit.
Sorry. So we could finish this off in a few different ways. There are a lot of different emoji that use smiling eyes, or there are at least a handful. But we're gonna do grinning face with smiling eyes because it's the best one. This is an emoji that I use very frequently. So we're gonna start with a line similar to our first line. It's going to start and end toward the outer bounds of the eyes. So just make some points. And connect those, this time with a straight line. And that's just going to be a little bit below your eyes. And we're also going to draw a parallel line below that. Same length. And this mouth is kind of like a pill shape, so we're going to close it off with half circles on each side.
Nice.
What?
Oh, you know, just when you really do it up against the edge of the pencil, you start to shade, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess I kind of was shading there for a second.
Which is a great feature in Procreate if you intentionally trigger it. So once you have your mouth shape, we're going to add some divisions between the teeth. And for this, it's very important to keep your lines very light. We're just going to start with cutting this right down the middle horizontally. And you already kind of have your vertical guideline that splits your emoji down the center, but you can kind of go over that a little bit. And this emoji has 6 teeth on each row. So make some marks and visually try to break this up evenly before you commit to any line. Once you have it divided into sixths, roughly, you can continue those lines down.
Yeah, again, draw these really lightly because when they're teeth, you don't want them to be so dark.
Yeah.
That's kind of gross.
Looks pretty gross.
So, yeah.
And when you're happy with all of those shapes, you can kind of go over those and fill those in a little bit as well. Just not the divisions of the teeth. And you can go through and make some adjustments. But these are just sketches for fun, so don't get too stressed about it.
And for those of you using Procreate, you can tap with 2 fingers to undo. That's really handy. I know I said you don't have erasers, but
You
kind of
kinda
do in
do.
Procreate, so.
Yeah, it's not cheating. So this is grinning face with smiling eyes, and there you have it. But
That's it. But I said that's it, but there's more. This emoji doesn't quite express how I feel right now being on stage, so I want to make it a little bit more nervous. So we're gonna start by drawing. There's a cold sweat that's on some of the emoji, but it's not on this one, so I feel like it should be. So we're gonna add a little cold sweat on the side. So we're gonna start by drawing a circle just off to the right, a little above the line in the center, just off to the right of the eye, and you can just draw a little lightly. And after you've got like a circle that you're happy with, you want to draw a dot that's more close to the top of the whole face, that's directly above that circle. And that's going to be the top of your little teardrop. And then you're going to just connect the line down from there to the circle and close off that shape. And you can start darkening in that line as well. Now, Apple's emoji on almost everything right now is super glossy.
don't jinx it.
I like it the way it is. So if you want to kind of make that little gloss shape, you just want to draw the same exact shape you just drew, but inside a little bit anchored toward the top. And this will be that little gloss shape. And then when you fill it in, just fill in the rest of the area. And you can fill in a little lighter so it interprets a different color. Or You can use the blue colored pencils on your table and fight for them and use those.
Yeah. We didn't really mention it before, but at the moment, color isn't
color isn't
really a
very
big part
important.
of this
Yeah.
yet.
So, but
obviously these would all be yellow, but then you wouldn't be able to see what I'm doing very well. So.
Don't draw on the white colored pencils. I know they're there, but you can't use them
Are
with
they?
what you. Yeah, I know, it's really weird.
Oh,
Unless
weird.
you brought gray paper, which would be awesome.
That would be very cool.
Yeah. So anyway, there's how I feel. Nervous face. How's everyone else doing? Is everyone happy with their emoji that they've drawn so far? Yes? Thumbs ups? Yeah? All right.
Got any thumbs downs?
Cool. Any thumbs downs? Everyone hates this. This is the worst. Okay, all right, good. Cool.
Oh. A little bit more about shading. In Procreate, if you use the Apple Pencil, a lot of the brushes have support for shading with the side of your pencil like this. So just a thing to note in case you need to get something pretty
Alexa
big
and I
shaded.
are drawing with some of the pencil brushes, which are really nice when you're sketching because they're a little bit more forgiving.
Yeah. So we're going to move on to our third emoji. And this one, of course, is going to start with a circle.
Wow, this is getting old. It's drawing circles.
Yeah, that's why we made these templates. So you don't have to freehand draw 5 circles. That would be upsetting. And just draw your vertical and horizontal guidelines. And this one is going to start with side eyes. And these start with circles that intersect on the top with the horizontal line. So kind of the opposite of what we've been doing so far. Just the top of the circle is going to touch your horizontal line. And in order to make it look like our emoji is looking to the side, we're going to draw a tail off to the left that kind of curves down a little bit.
I don't know who at Apple originally drew these eyes. They're awesome.
They're very good. And you're going to connect that back toward your circle with another shallow curve. Now, we want these eyes to be symmetrically placed. Since the eyes themselves are asymmetrical, you're going to want to start your eye a little bit further to the right. You don't want to draw it here because that would be far too close to the center. So just kind of estimate how much space is here, and that's where you're going to want the side of your circle to be.
Yeah, and you can draw yourself some guides based on your previous one and just kind of mirror that, and that might help you place them a little better. This is really hard.
You'll see us make lots and lots of little marks on our paper to position things and make things a little bit more precise. And you're going to do the same thing off into the same direction, which is this shallow curve. And come back. Kind of like an apostrophe. So a few emoji use side eyes, but we want to make something a little bit new and use a different mouth. So we're going to borrow a mouth from another emoji. It's going to be this kind of slight frown, kind of the opposite of a smirk. And this one's going to be asymmetrical. So you're going to draw your curve and just curve down a little bit further toward the left. Like that. And again, we're going to make a taper. So start and end at the same points, just a little shallower. And you can fill those in and start to darken your lines. And feel free to make any adjustments.
This emoji looks a little disappointed.
Yeah, but not disappointed enough.
Yeah.
So you'll see that we left a lot of room up at the top of the emoji, and that's for eyebrows. And eyebrows will significantly influence what kind of expression our emoji has. So at this point, Louie and I, to demonstrate that, are going to draw 2 different kinds of eyebrows. And I'm going to draw some sort of distressed eyebrows, and you're going to draw some skeptical eyebrows. So feel free to follow either of us, or if you'd like, you can draw your own eyebrows, whatever you're feeling like. So I'm just going to draw a curve. It's a little bit higher toward the center. And kind of thicken that line up a little bit. And do the same thing on the other side.
And as for mine, like the skeptical eyebrows, like Alexa said, we're gonna start over the left eye, and very, very high up toward the top, we're going to draw a very small arc. As for that little eyebrow up there. And then on the other side, and this is the fun one, over the right eye, very, very close to that eye, we're going to draw a little S-curve, just to make it feel like they're not very sure about this.
They don't believe you. So 2 pretty different expressions we've gotten out of this.
Yep.
And again, this is how a lot of Apple's emoji and a lot of emoji sets work. Just a lot of reuse and borrowing from different expressions to create new things and combine them in interesting ways. So for our 4th emoji, we're going to do something totally new that matches Apple's style. So we want them to seem cohesive. We want it to look like it's part of the same set, but we're going to make a bunch of features that don't quite exist in this form yet. And this is just part of what we really like to do with emoji, is draw aspirational emoji, or emoji that we'd really like to have that we don't yet. And this is kind of a timely time to have this talk, because eventually we're going to be able to do this for real.
So all
and
that
we've just
emoji
been doing
you
it
saw
for fun
earlier
so
on
far.
a slide, it's going to be great because now we can actually have that as a little keyboard in there.
So far we've just been looking at them, doing nothing.
But now we can use them, so that's nice.
That's great.
Can't imagine how excited we were when we saw that they were announcing Messages apps. We were pretty stoked about it.
Pretty good. So once you have your circle and your horizontal and vertical guidelines, we're going to draw this kind of big, wide open mouth. There are a bunch of emoji that have open mouths of one kind or another, but nothing quite like what I'm imagining. So it's just going to be this big oval that starts a little bit above your horizontal guideline and continues almost to the bottom of the face.
Yeah, there are some mouths that are just kind of gaping or like wide open mouths, but this one is like the biggest gasp.
But we're going to be able to finish it in a bunch of different ways, and you'll see that toward the end of this one. So it's got to have teeth on the top row. We're not going to draw divisions between the teeth because they're not important to this particular expression, and that's not consistent with Apple's set. But you're just going to end the teeth at the bottom along your horizontal guideline. And you're going to draw a curve that sort of hugs the top of the mouth, but inset a little bit. And this is to create contrast between the teeth and the face, because these all need to be seen at really small sizes theoretically, and it's very important to keep high contrast. And you can kind of round the bottom corners of those teeth, soften them up a little bit. And you can fill that shape in. And I'm just gonna do some cross-hatching. But feel free to use the side of your pencil or your Apple Pencil and just kind of lightly go through and fill that in. Now, we started with the mouths on this one because we think there's a lot of potential to introduce some pretty interesting expressions by changing the eyes. And there are a few different expressions that I can think of, like shouting, maybe it's angry, maybe it's yawning, talking loudly, surprised, something like that. But we want to invite you to imagine for yourself how you would complete this emoji and add your own eyes. And feel free to look at the emoji panel on your phone, think about emoji that you've seen, and just kind of imagine how you could complete this expression. And if you're feeling a little bit lost, feel free to follow me or Louie. Again, we're going to split off and draw two completely different things here.
Yeah, seriously, open up that emoji picker on your phone or something. There is tons of eyes in there, and you can just kind of grab any of them and make something that's a little hilarious on its own.
Yeah, and feel free to kind of sketch lightly and drop some eyes in and experiment with them and see what sort of effect they have. And when we draw normally, we'll have lots and lots of reference material up. This is kind of an atypical workflow just for the demonstration, but we're typically looking at lots and lots of emoji, or we'll even draw right on top of existing emoji for consistency, but it's kind of fun to be able to draw them from scratch.
What are those eyes that you're drawing?
They're funny. They're
Yeah.
super surprised eyes.
That is a big gasp.
Yeah.
He's very surprised.
So we're kind of borrowing from a few of Apple's emoji that have kind of whites in their eyes to convey that the eyes are very, very wide open, just to get this very, very excited face.
That's a really funny
Because
face.
I feel like I need that, and I feel
Yeah.
like none of the emoji are as excited as I would like them to be. And what did you do?
Oh, I drew eyes that were kind of slanting downwards. Maybe because I was thinking about yawning, but maybe singing. So I'm going to draw some little music notes off to the side here as well.
Louie has a lot of practice drawing music notes.
So if you if you want to draw some music notes off to the side too, it's just kind of like the Z's that you might see in the sleeping emoji. It's just like this little prop off to the side, and this is a great time to use a different color. So if you want to do that as well, feel free. It doesn't have the bounce on it.
Yeah, that's only for iTunes. So hopefully you've gotten an expression that you're happy with, and maybe learned some things about designing emoji within constraints. So for the fifth emoji, we're going to take that one step further now that you've gotten a taste of designing. We want to invite you to draw your very own emoji and think about which emoji you're constantly searching for when you're writing a message that just isn't there, that you wish that you had. And kind of, again, open up that emoji panel, kind of look at some of our examples that we have up, and think about what sort of eyes and mouth and maybe props you can use to convey that expression. And I'm going to draw while you guys are drawing.
So if you're lost, you could just follow her, but make your own. It's cool.
Yeah.
And
And don't stress too much about making it perfect.
Yeah.
It's just a sketch. Concept is what matters.
So again, yeah, look through your emoji picker, look up here. There's a bunch of faces up here with a variety of expressions: eyes, eyebrows, mouths, props, tears running down the entire face,
Or just one little teardrop.
or just one little teardrop.
But there's a lot of potential to come up with something completely new here. So
Yeah, you can
don't
mix
feel
and
limited
match.
by what already exists in Apple's emoji set.
Yeah. Yeah, mix and match things that exist, but you can just totally make brand new things. Think of props, make a funny face.
Yeah,
you know,
with your
just
own face.
With your
Just
own
make
face,
a
make a
stupid
funny
face.
face and
That's
try
how
to
you
figure out
can
how
draw.
to draw that. I'm sorry we didn't provide mirrors. You have phones, you figure it out.
Look at your friend. Look at the dumb face your friend's making.
And yeah, think about props. Think if there's anything that you can add to it that makes it make a little bit more sense. I mean, some of them have thermometers, or the
Sick
Z's
mask.
off the side. Oh yeah, sick mask. We're
Yeah.
just gonna talk about the sick emoji.
Yeah, that's because that's
Yeah.
us today.
Yeah, that's us today.
This is quiet Louie.
Now these are meant to be small, so remember, don't get too fussy with all the details. Just try to draw in broad strokes, make some bold expressions. Don't get caught up in very small spaces.
Yeah, it's okay to introduce detail for a finished emoji. We believe that, like Mac apps and iPhone apps, there's no reason that the icon shouldn't look great when it's big if it can be seen large. So we like to introduce detail to ours, but not in any way that is necessary to get the concept down.
Yeah. And considering these new messages apps have to be at least 300 by 300, you kind of do have to introduce some detail.
It's true.
Now, like Alexa said, you know, when we're drawing, we draw with a lot of reference material. That's why we have this up here. We're also tracing, like she said earlier. We are referencing a bunch of things. We're sketching multiple ideas for the same expression or the same snack. Really just kind of any of those things. So if you need to make a separate sketch, go for it. If you are done with your first one, go make a second and third one. What are you drawing?
So right now it just looks like a weird kissy face, but I'm actually going to make it conspicuously whistling.
Oh, okay.
Because I think I need that. I think that's an emoji I would like to have. And we're just going to borrow your music notes. But I don't have as much practice. How's everybody's emoji coming out?
Good, yes, thumbs up.
Everybody
thumbs
good?
down. That's in the middle. Weird.
Anybody have anything
I'm
super
getting
funny
no
and hilarious?
thumbs up. That must mean everyone's drawing.
Everybody's
right?
very busy. It's important when you're introducing props not to let anything hang too far off the side of the emoji. Since these have bounds, you need to make sure that everything fits in the same sort of outer square that everything else does. And if you hang anything too far off the side, that means you're going to have to scale the rest of it down. And that means inconsistency.
Yeah, you're gonna have some emoji that look different sizes, and that sucks. So don't do that.
What do you think?
Oh my gosh, yeah,
Pretty cute?
yeah.
There's no whistling emoji.
Yeah, no, there's no whistling emoji.
There are a lot of emoji that
Yeah.
seem like they should exist, but don't.
Yeah. Well, one day.
One day.
Come on, Unicode Consortium. We just got our burrito, and it's not even a good burrito. We got a taco. It's a hard taco.
Yeah, we
I
got
don't-
pancakes, but I already drew pancakes.
That's true. Yeah, gosh, let's go back through those other ones. I really like those. Cookies, sandwiches, snacks.
Did
Ice
anybody
cream.
draw snacks?
Oh my God. Yeah, if you drew snacks, that's awesome. You're the best. Well, if you want to show these to other people, that's awesome. We would love to see them. So if you just want to put them on Twitter and with like a hashtag Emoji Academy,
Yeah.
do that. And that way everyone can search that hashtag, check it out, post them to Slack, whatever. We'd love to see them. I'm sure other people would like to see them. So take some photos, post them there. I want to see all of them.
Yeah, that'll
Yeah.
be fun.
And if this is interesting to you, if you want to see more of this sort of thing and go further, Alexa occasionally does this on Twitch. And she'll draw more than just sketching. She'll go into full rendering. So she's in Photoshop the whole time.
Yeah.
So,
We couldn't do that because it would have taken me 4 hours.
4 hours.
So, yeah.
so if you want to see how that's all done, you can check that out on Twitch.
So we learned how to draw basic emoji, we learned how to modify them, and learned how to design our very own emoji. Hopefully you guys got some use out of this, figuring out sort of a workflow and maybe how you can apply this to your own workflow. But mostly we just hope that you had fun, and we're glad that you shared in our weird little hobby with us for a little while.
This is what we do for fun,
This is
so
what
if
we
you
do.
had fun, that's great. If you didn't, then there's other speakers, I guess. All right, that's it.
Thanks,
Thank you so
guys.
much.
Thank you guys so much.